James, what are you doing?
Hey, you're here.
Oh, okay.
Put that on.
What's going on?
We're celebrating!
Celebrating what exactly?
So I didn't understand it either, actually. They told me that this just went in for a service.
Yeah.
And that the engine just came out. Woo!
Watching Throttle House. I'm Thomas.
And I'm James.
And that is the Ferrari F355.
This is one of those Ferraris that you always hear that everyone loves. It's the one that was in The Rock. It chased Bond in GoldenEye, and it's gone toe-to-toe with Brian's Supra. It's definitely loved. It's apparently great to drive, great to look at, great to listen to. And for a while, the 355 represented the secret depreciated bargain of the Ferrari V8 lineage. But now, it's more than you can afford, pal, for over $150,000 USD with ease. So all of a sudden, it not only has to be good, but it has to be really good to warrant that cash. And since it'll cost a Caribbean vacation every time you want to service it, it needs to tickle us in all the right places. This particular one is a very nice example, and it's going up for sale by our friends at A Collection Auto very soon. So let's dig into the 355 a bit. And in order to do that, we need to go back in time to before it was even dreamed up.
Weirdly, the story kind of starts here. This is my 1984 Rabbit GTI Schnitz. It's the car that I drove in our Road to Enlightenment road trip adventure. And it was a car, probably something like this, in Europe at the time period that beat a Ferrari 348 at a stoplight drag race somewhere in Italy. And, you know, that's not that surprising, honestly. The 348 was known to be a bit of a dog, and GTI is pretty snappy off the line. But the problem is that that particular Ferrari was driven by a gentleman named Luca di Montezemolo, who had just become the CEO of Ferrari. So Luca di Montezemolo, who was embarrassed and distraught about losing to a GTI in a drag race, decided that he was going to take the 348 and spitefully turn everything up. And that's exactly what he did. Especially the engine, which he turned all the way up to
8,500 RPM. Mr. D. Montezemolo was not messing around when he cooked up this engine. Some people say that hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. They haven't met an angry Italian man. So he gave this 5 valves per cylinder, titanium connecting rods, and the big important number, 375 horsepower. That means that this 3.5 litre engine has 109 horsepower per litre, which is the highest specific output of any naturally aspirated car of the time. And there were some powerful cars. You know, this came out sort of C4 Corvette, That was 300 horsepower. Acura NSX, 270. And what that means is, this V8 is quick, sub 5 seconds to 60. It sounds very, very, very pure. This feels so significantly different to a modern V8 Ferrari, like the F8 that we drove. The naturally aspirated engine, it revs and it revs and it revs and it revs 6,000, 7,000. Going a bit too quick, going a bit too quick. But you get throttle happy in this because there's so much reward for it. It's raspier, there's much more induction sound. It's not depending on a fanciful exhaust. Wow, wow. And the other thing the F8 doesn't have is an extra pedal and this little thing here. The gated shifter, we said this when we drove the R8. Something about the clink. It makes you want to drive it delicately. My dad shifts third to fourth in a way that I've never understood. He shifts like it's a wine glass. But in this car, that's how I want to shift. He does this. And he always done it so gracefully. I've never criticized him for it, but in this car, I kind of get it. He does it in any car. He did it in a Hyundai Getz. But it does make me respect other cars. Like the Acura NSX Zanardi we drove had a similar feel, even though it was just a 6-cylinder. You know, there are some cars that are mind-blowing, but I would put the Acura and this in the same camp of just feeling a bit honest, a bit pure. That is injecting fulfillment right into my soul, right through that metal shifter. So in this moment, going through these trees on this day, I'm finding it very hard to care about the reputation that these cars have. Male clitoris now. Don't put that in.
All right, that is one heck of a powertrain, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Seems decently high-strung, though.
Yes, but if you look after it, it can be reliable.
Okay.
But as we established, engine out service.
Engine has to come out.
Engine's
yeah.
coming out.
But like, that's just for like the big services. Like, surely the smaller stuff, you don't have to take the engine out.
When you say small, well, like, name a smaller thing, you know.
Okay, well, I don't know. Water pump change.
It's an engine out. So
Okay. What about like some like minor leaks in the heads?
Engine out.
Engine out. Okay. What about just like a pulley?
Engine out, yeah.
Engine out?
Yeah.
Pulley tensioner?
Engine out.
Engine out.
Engine out.
Okay. Well, I mean, I assume that once you've done the engine out service, you've got quite a while until the next one. So like, when's the next time the engine has to come out?
Oh yeah, not for 5, 6, 6:30.
Yes! Clink! Oh, now we're talking. Oh, yes! Woo! Okay, some people have said that the 348, which is the V8 Ferrari that came before this, is more hardcore. It's more of a driver's car because it doesn't have assisted steering. Everything about it, you have to manhandle it, you know? But my experience with Ferraris and what I've come to know Ferraris to be are delicate cars. They're beautiful to drive. And immediately, this is that. It's beautiful to drive. just even over the bumps in a straight line, it just dances. You might say it prances. I'm sorry. But the idea is that everything about the car has been calibrated in a way to give you this feeling of effortlessness, that the car is not bothered by any aspect of the road. You're just piloting a machine that wraps itself around you in an incredibly intuitive way. And the steering, well, no, it's not that good. It does weight up when you load the tires up into a corner. It's not talking to me in the way that I hoped that it would, but the rest of the car is so wonderful that I don't think it matters, honestly. It's not a bother to me at all. I don't know if this is a fluke or if this is coincidence or whatever it was. All I know is that every control, the steering, the gear selector, the throttle, the brakes, the clutch, the suspension, the way it moves, it all feels like they intended to make it a single cohesive package. It's just like silk. Like it's just buttered silk. And the ride is good, the damping is good, the car doesn't feel like it's fighting you at any point in the corner. There's just something about a Ferrari, you know? And I've said this before, I don't get along with the brand and the way that they do things. But you can't deny the cars are something special. All right. That is quite a wonderful driving car. It drives more modern than I thought it was going to. It's so soft and nice and smooth. It's
smooth,
drive.
but I think I associate Ferraris with a tight steering ratio. This doesn't have that.
No, it's older. But it still has that delicacy that all the V8 Ferraris and V6 now.
V6.
That we've driven.
And they will have mad torque now. It's 268 pound-feet.
It doesn't have that much torque, so the engine is a little bit more easy to run up. Modern Ferraris are a bit scary. This isn't scary, it's easy.
But they still dance, they still feel beautiful.
Oh, of course, but this almost feels in a weird way like a bit of a sweet spot. It's like before they got so fast that you have to like really pay attention, like your pupils dilate when you put your foot down. And it's still modern enough that it feels sophisticated and easy to drive.
No, I agree. And I think it sits in that same place when it comes to design. So first of all, this is the last hand-built Ferrari.
Is that a good thing? We don't know.
Are the Astons still hand-built?
No, they say that they're still hand-built.
Every time there's a broken stitch, hand-built.
It just means that a guy does this, he goes, boop, and lowers the AMG engine into the car by machine, hand-built.
Do you think this is prettier than the Testarossa we drove?
Well, it doesn't have the strakes.
Has a strake.
No.
There's one strake.
No, it's not. But it doesn't have strakes. You can't do one strake. You can't say that's a fence.
No,
wait, no, you can.
You can. It's one strake.
Yeah. Okay, so it has a strake.
Smaller in person.
It is like the dimensions on all sides are smaller than in person. This car is prettier and way smaller than you think it's going to be.
And this is in Rosso Corsa. This is the original paint.
Rosso Corsa.
Red.
Racing red.
Yeah.
Racing red. Yeah.
People get annoyed at red Ferraris. Resale red, I hear.
Yeah.
Who cares?
That phrase is tossed around in Alpha world as well.
Yeah.
Because all the Alphas are red as well.
I think it looks beautiful. I think it looks more beautiful in some of the colors I Googled.
Well, hold on a second. Do you guys want to? What's the over/under on one of these colors being blue?
It's actually called Azuro California.
And it is a.
It's an ice blue. It's
blue.
an iced
yeah, it's
blue.
blue. James chose a blue. That's no surprise.
I'm showing you a lot of picture right now. Tell me it's not perfect for this car.
I think this would look really cool in white and black.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Yeah, the classic style, like Wolf of Wall Street almost.
Yeah, but I would take it in red.
You know what would ruin this?
What if you want to sell it?
Imagine if these headlights were like not pop-ups. Imagine if they were 996 runny eggs. Which is basically what the 360
That's what
got.
happened to the 360. But you know what the 360 did get is a nice little port behind the seats so you can access all of the pulleys and the belts so you can service it without taking the bloody engine out of the car.
I agree. The used car market, it's annoying that this costs to maintain. However, this was back in the day when people didn't hold on to cars because they might go up in value and they could sell on Bring a Trailer for a fortune.
Yeah.
This is when you saw a guy with a Ferrari and you're like, well, that thing must cost him a fortune to run. And he's a rich man.
Yeah, well, this is the era of Ferrari that spawned the phrase, if you can't afford a new Ferrari, you can't afford a used Ferrari.
Right. So
Right.
can you afford this?
No, not even close.
I saw a green one on Bring a Trailer that just went for 263,000 US.
Oh! See, you could get a 458 for that.
458's missing something.
What?
Let me show you.
Oh, it's the gated shifter.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what it's all about.
That's
right
why
there.
Shaq owned one, I will claim. It's why Jeremy Clarkson owned one of these cars.
Wait, what does this ball look like in Shaq's hand?
A marble.
Yeah.
It's a marble.
It just really
Yeah. This is also the car, and for all the years I've heard this song,
Sure, like
in the video Cosmic Girl
Yeah.
by Jamiroquai,
Yeah.
it's a 3-minute canyon run
Yeah.
of this car
Yeah.
being chased by an F40 and a Diablo.
And a Diablo.
Yeah.
So cool.
Not
actually.
a 458, mate. Don't look at the chronology and the timing of that. But yeah.
So this interior is interesting because for some reason it's all really far away from you. Have you noticed how far away this dashboard is?
Spacious though.
It's really open. You get this really nice open feeling, right? Especially as
seats
a
are on the
passenger.
floor.
The seats are literally on the floor. Yeah.
quite modest.
Leathers are nice though.
Lots of I remember reading lots of cows.
Lots of cows.
Lots of cows. Or
It
one
feels
really
like it.
big shack-sized cow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's quite simple in here. Like there's darkness going on. There's not that many fun colours. I'm sure you could get fun trims.
Wait, sorry. Shaq had one?
Shaq had.
There's no way Shaq fixed
There's
this
no
car.
car that Shaq hasn't had. He had an F650.
Wait, but that makes sense for Shaq. It's big truck, big man.
I think his calf.
There's no way that
Yeah. His calf had one of these.
His one calf.
His one
just
calf.
the right one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, as it turns out, in order for Shaq to drive his, they had to cut the roof off forever, move the fuel tank to the front so there was more room behind, and have custom seats fitted.
The gauge cluster's interesting. This is the one before they went with the central tack. So the 360 has the rev gauge
That's
right in
right.
the middle.
Yeah.
I like the rev gauge in the
I
middle.
also like the rev gauge. I think that was a good move into the future that they did. But that's still a beautiful gauge cluster.
It's clean.
So simple and nice. This is before we figured out how to make airbags smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the big. It's like, here's one.
Yeah, but it's like 348.
That little 3-spoke.
Had a little 3-spoke and it looked really nice.
Yeah.
But then you break your nose in a low-speed accident.
Yeah.
So, you take some, you give some.
Not overly styled, this car.
They knew how to be classy.
Yeah.
They 100% knew how to be classy.
Like
yeah.
you could fall into those vents. They're quite large.
Yeah.
But really,
But air conditioning was nice, right? So, it would get, it's all about comfort and luxury, right? I don't know. It's very Ferrari in here, and I really, really
it's just
enjoy
an
it.
ease to it.
There is an ease
just
to
an
everything
ease.
about this car, and that's what makes it a Ferrari, I think. It's the effortlessness of the performance.
Right.
That's what makes it a Ferrari.
My question then is,
Yeah.
given the reliability or the maintenance required
Yep.
and its rising costs,
Yes.
does it, with its newfound buzz around it,
Okay.
does it deserve that number?
The F355 exists in multiple sweet spots. Historically, it is, as we said, the last hand-built Ferrari. Size-wise, it's the last Ferrari that was actually significantly shorter than a Porsche Cayman. The power is enough that it feels Ferrari quick, and yet not so much that it can't be fully enjoyed on the road. The sound is honest, but not overstated. The gearbox is satisfying without being too difficult. The balance is wonderful. The ride is smooth. And the looks? Well, we think it's purty.
And we know better than to try and judge the market's opinion of something at a single point in time. But if a beautiful driving, manual, modern classic like the Ferrari F355 isn't worth a 6-figure sum, well then it would probably feel like there was something wrong with the world. And if the engine has to come out just for it to be serviced, well then we think the engine is even braver than the owner's wallets. Thanks for watching.